Hello, everyone. I am Alderman Will Stewart, and I'm here today with Ryan Cashin, the relatively new chief of the Manchester Fire Department. And today we're talking all things fire department, which does a lot more than just fight fires. Welcome, Chief.
How you doing, Alderman? Great to have you.
Awesome. So let's jump right in. You were confirmed as chief back in October. Congratulations again, by the way. And for those who might not know you, why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, why you chose to enter the fire service, and kind of what your career's been like up to this point.
So yeah, of course. Obviously, I live in the city of Manchester. I live in the South End. I have two children, 13-year-old daughter, a 6-year-old daughter. I have an amazing wife. The current house we've lived in about 8 years now. We love our life down there in the South End, over in the Memorial Jewett South Side area. It's fantastic down there. I got on the fire department mostly because I wanted to help people. I wanted a job where you could help people, that was different every day, that was exciting, that allowed for me to really be a part of a community, which is important to me. My grandfather was a deputy fire chief in Goffstown for many years, a volunteer, and probably instilled a lot of those values in me. But the biggest ones are wanting to help people and then wanting to be part of a community. And in order to do that, and I've had to go through all the necessary training, and I've obtained a bachelor's degree in management, later on in my years. And, I'm really proud of my educational and training requirements and achievements that I've done. And I'm hoping to do the best job that I can for, every single person in this city and be of service.
And I have no doubt that'll be the case, at least based on, what I've seen so far, definitely. So the department you lead is obviously the name is Manchester Fire Department, but as I mentioned before, the department and you and your team do a lot more than just prevent and fight fires. What other responsibilities does the fire department have?
So that's 100% totally true. The fire department has a very wide range, and I'll try to single out a few of those too, just so, we kind of understand. So one of the biggest ones right now that the fire department is trying to do is, Squad 1, which is our community outreach unit. Okay. So Squad 1 runs with 2 firefighters. It runs for 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. That is funded through the state of New Hampshire. That is primarily an opioid response, homeless outreach vehicle for the city of Manchester. That unit will also do low acuity medical calls in the inner city. We try to keep it in the inner city. And it's been a huge success so far. So totaling in that time that it's been in service this year, 1,521 calls for service in the short amount of time that it's in. In the amount of time that the squad is in service, it is the busiest fire truck in the city of Manchester, which makes it the busiest fire truck in the state of New Hampshire. Okay, so that kind of lends to some of the other issues we're seeing. When it comes to dealing with some of the opioid issues we're dealing with, homelessness, and on top of that, when we're talking low acuity calls, we're talking people that, might have fallen on the street, could be dealing with a mental health issue. There's a wide variety of issues that we respond to in an emergency medical capacity. And we're super proud of those efforts, and it doesn't stop there. Manchester Fire Department has its own dispatch center. Okay. That dispatch center has over 100,000 interactions, whether that's through the radio or through phones, in a year. They're extremely busy in there, dispatching, over 27,000 calls in the city of Manchester yearly. They are doing a ton of work in there, and they're doing amazing work. And I'd be amiss not to tell you about it. Another thing, the fire department does, we have the communications division for the city of Manchester. So in the communications division, which is situated in Station 3 in the south end of Manchester, they're actually responsible for the entire city's communications abilities. So they're responsible for every single radio in the city of Manchester, as well as making sure all the communication systems for Manchester Fire Department, Police Department, Highway Department, anyone else is working cohesively. So they'll work with information systems, as well as they maintain all the any municipal alarm services that are in the city, they also maintain those. So that's a very busy division that we have. Obviously spoke briefly about the fire prevention division, doing thousands of inspections a year throughout the city, building occupancies, as well as working on, new building construction, building permits, and, they do amazing work. So the fire department is a very wide encompassing department.
With a lot of responsibility too, it
Yes.
sounds like, and, obviously it's, safety is the key word all the way around. And, it's like I said, it's a lot of responsibility. So what types of training does it take in these various, critical roles that you and your team take up?
So it takes a good amount of training, to get on the fire department. You have to have your firefighter level 2 from the state of New Hampshire. You have to be an advanced EMT. You have to have a CDL, and you also have to have a qualified CPAT exam, which is a physical exam, which allows you to be a firefighter. Okay. In order for all that training to happen, if you were to go Monday through Friday, full time, it's about 2 years, and we estimate $20,000.
Okay.
So it's a significant amount of training that you have to do to get hired on a fire department, and we are trying to build some bridges for that, to allow, to try to close that gap a bit, try to find ways we can do. One of the recruitment strategies we're looking to do is we're trying to partner up with the school district as well as school technology to try to shorten that span, to try to reduce that time so that we can pull kids essentially almost out of high school onto the fire department. We think we can use the avenue of partnering with American Medical Response to help in that situation, as there's not always a job opening on the fire department, but we could get them into the emergency system of the city of Manchester through the American Medical Response ambulance service, which is a subcontracted unit for the city of Manchester, to help them get on. But and then once you get on, the training doesn't stop. Our members are required to do 24 hours a year of emergency medical service training, multiple hours a year of firefighter training. We've tried to institute a safety and mental health program, and we're trying to really make sure that we offer every single opportunity we can, because the job is hard and it can be difficult. And the best way to provide the best service to the citizens is to make sure that the firefighters are trained, and also healthy emotionally, physically, on all levels.
Certainly, as certainly as a recipient of these services that in most cases, you hope you never need as an individual, as a homeowner. It is a relief to know that this much thought and preparation and training, looking at not just the individual and the skills that they bring and the education, but taking care of the people themselves, because I imagine it can be a fairly high stress, high stakes environment, and there's a lot of toll that comes with that. So I'm glad to see that's being acknowledged and working to get better outcomes for everyone involved there. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the scope of the department. You mentioned a number of the departments, and certainly wide ranging. I know the fire department itself, you're headquartered downtown on Merrimack Street, but you mentioned another station in the south end. Can you talk a little bit about how big the fire department is kind of geographically, and also when it comes to like numbers of employees and pieces of equipment? What are we kind of looking at here? Yeah,
totally. The fire department is pretty big geographically. In the city of Manchester, we operate 10 fire stations throughout the city. And within those 10 fire stations, we have 10 fire engines, right? 3 ladder trucks and a rescue. Okay. On top of, that's our operational side, as well as a shift commander, battalion chief. Okay. So an engine is, basically the fire engine is the first piece on scene. That's the engine that is bringing water and personnel to put out the fire. Then we have 3 ladder trucks, which are sporadically placed throughout the city in various stations. Those apparatus are going to provide ventilation, rescue. And we also have a dedicated rescue truck, which is designed for all sorts of rescues. So we're talking river rescues, we're talking heights rescues, below grade rescues. They're the first ones into the building to pull someone out if needed. So we have a wide range of equipment that we use for all calls. And that doesn't include, we also have several reserve fire trucks for when some of these fire trucks break down. Believe it or not, just like yours and my car at times, fire
Right.
trucks, they need to get fixed, they need oil changes, they need brakes, sometimes they break down. So on top of those apparatus, we do also have some reserve apparatus so that we're constantly moving in and out so that we're never without a fire truck in any part of the city. Because that's our job, and we take that very, very seriously. Total in the fire department, there's 229 total employees in the fire department. Which I'm very proud to have the responsibility to essentially lead. Of those 229, 196 of them are on the line in a fire truck responding to calls. And that equals about 47 per shift is how many firefighters that we have on duty every single day to serve the needs of the citizens of Manchester.
24/7, right?
24/7. Yep.
Always on watch. And again, for that, we're definitely grateful. Chief, as we wrap up here, I'm wondering if you have any requests or asks of people who might be viewing this video in particular, or just Manchester residents in general. Is there anything that we all can do to make the job of the Manchester Fire Department and the firefighters and other personnel a little easier?
So yeah, I did think of a couple things. It's winter time, and typically winter is a different situation than summer. And a couple of things that I know are always good to do in the winter. One is if you can make sure there's access to your house in a snowstorm. Okay, getting seconds count on a medical call. So making sure that that door is shoveled, that we can get in there as fast as can be, that, we don't have to shovel when we go in. Not that we won't, but, that's going to slow down operations. There's a lot of equipment that we have to get in. And when it comes to a medical call, seconds count, and we want every second we can to save a life. The second one is during a snowstorm is, the city does shovel hydrants. But obviously in a snowstorm, city services are maxed out at times. If you can shovel your hydrant during a serious snowstorm, that makes a difference, because that saves, we deal in a world of seconds. It's on a medical call or a building fire, seconds matter. Seconds can be the difference between saving somebody's life and making a difference. In any way that we can get a help with that, if we can get, if that hydrant is shoveled or that entryway is shoveled, that makes a huge difference for us to respond to that person's residence and get in and do our job as quickly and thoroughly and professionally as possible.
Well, awesome. Thank you, Chief. And, I think, we're all in this together. Obviously, the men and women of the fire department are the trained professionals on a number of levels. But there's always something that we can all do a little bit, to help you do your jobs a little bit better. So hopefully everybody will take those words to heart, and especially this winter, make things a little bit easier in the, hopefully, fingers crossed, event that we don't want anyone to have to come to your house for an emergency, but if they do, let's make it easier. Chief Ryan Cashin, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Alderman.